What if the person everyone called wrong was actually the only one who was thinking clearly? Imagine this for a moment. A classroom goes quiet. A teacher asks a very simple question. The kind of question that even a child is expected to answer without thinking. 1 + 1 + 1. A girl raises her hand. She gives her answer. And instantly, the room changes. The teacher frowns. The students exchange looks. Some almost smile, as if they were waiting for this moment. Because to them, this girl always gets it wrong. The teacher corrects her. Patient at first. Then firmer. Then annoyed. But the girl does not change her answer. And that is when everyone decides something about her. That she is slow. That she does not understand. That she will never be good at numbers. But here is the part no one expects. This story is not about a wrong answer. It is about a hidden detail. A detail so small that everyone missed it. And when it is finally revealed, it changes how you see the girl, and maybe how you judge people in your own life. If you stay until the end of this video, you will see how a single assumption can turn intelligence into embarrassment, and how often we make the same mistake without realizing it. Let's begin with the girl everyone had already judged. Before we continue her story, we need to talk about something uncomfortable. We judge people fast. Very fast. We see one mistake. And we turn it into an identity. Wrong answer. Not smart. Slow response. Not capable. Different thinking. Must be confused. We rarely stop to ask questions. We rarely ask why. We rarely look for context. This happens everywhere. In schools. At work. Inside families. Even among friends. One moment becomes a label. And once a label sticks, everything else gets ignored. Strengths don't matter anymore. Effort doesn't matter anymore. Only the label remains. The most dangerous part is this. Most people never get a chance to explain themselves. They are judged before they are understood. And that is exactly what happened to the girl in this story. Because long before that math question was asked, everyone had already decided who she was. Her name was Emily. She was not loud. She was not troublesome. She was the kind of student teachers like to describe as well-behaved. Emily smiled easily. She helped classmates when she could. She listened carefully in class. But when it came to numbers, something changed. Math made her nervous. Her hands felt heavy when she held a pencil. Even simple questions made her doubt herself. Sometimes she knew the answer. But the fear of being wrong made her freeze. Teachers noticed. Classmates noticed too. Slowly, without anyone saying it out loud, a label formed. Emily was bad at math. Once that label existed, everything she did was filtered through it. If she hesitated, it proved the label. If she made a mistake, it confirmed it. No one asked how she thought. No one asked what she saw. They only saw the label. And that label followed her everywhere. What most people did not notice was this. Emily was talented. Not with numbers, but with images. When she drew, her focus changed. Her hand moved with confidence. She noticed details others missed. Lines were clean. Shadows made sense. Her drawings felt alive. One day, her teacher stopped beside her desk. The class was noisy. But the teacher stayed quiet for a moment. Then came the praise. Real praise. Emily's work was careful. Thoughtful. Creative. For a brief moment, the label cracked. But it did not disappear. Because people forgive talent. They don't forgive weakness. Her drawings were admired. But her math struggles were remembered. And soon, Life gave her more chances to feel that weight. As days passed, the pressure quietly grew. Math class felt heavier than the others. Even before it started, Emily felt tense. Her mind rushed ahead to possible mistakes. Simple tasks became stressful. Not because they were hard, but because people were watching. She could feel their eyes, waiting, expecting her to fail. Even outside the classroom, the fear followed her. At the school canteen, numbers mattered too. Prices, change, counting coins. She double-checked everything. Sometimes 3 times. A few students whispered. Some smiled when she hesitated. No one said anything openly. They didn't have to. Emily began to trust herself less. She knew what she saw, but she no longer believed it. And then came the day that would decide everything. A normal lesson, a normal classroom, and a question so simple that no one expected what happened next. That day, the teacher decided to make an example. Nothing harsh, nothing cruel, just a simple demonstration. The teacher picked up a few apples, held them up for the class to see. Then came the question. 1 apple plus 1 apple plus 1 apple. How many apples do I have? The class stayed quiet. Emily raised her hand. Some students looked surprised. Others looked amused. The teacher nodded and called on her. Emily answered calmly. Her voice was soft, but steady. 4. The room reacted instantly. A few students laughed. Others shook their heads. The teacher corrected her. No, Emily. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Emily looked at the apples again. She thought for a moment. Then she repeated her answer. 4. Now the mood changed. The teacher frowned. Not angry yet, but confused. The teacher tried again. Slower this time. Imagine I give you 1 apple. Then another apple. Then another apple. How many do you have? Emily did not hesitate. 4. The class grew restless. This was exactly what they expected from her. And the teacher decided to try something else. The teacher paused for a moment, then picked up a different fruit. Strawberries this time. Bright, clear, easy to count. 1 strawberry plus 1 strawberry plus 1 strawberry, the teacher said. Emily answered without thinking. 3. The room went quiet. The teacher nodded. Some students looked confused. So the teacher went back to the apples. Same question. Same tone. 1 apple plus 1 apple plus 1 apple. Emily looked at them carefully. Then answered again. 4. Now the patience was gone. The teacher's voice grew sharper. Not loud, but firm. Emily, you just said 3 with strawberries. Why are apples different? The class waited. Some students smiled. Others sighed, as if this was hopeless. To them, the answer was obvious. To them, Emily was proving the label again. The teacher shook their head. Disappointed. The room felt heavy. Silent. Uncomfortable. And then, in that silence, Emily finally spoke. Emily took a small breath. She was not angry. She was not scared. She was calm. She looked at the teacher and spoke quietly. Because I already have 1 apple. The room froze. Emily reached into her bag. Slowly, carefully, she pulled out an apple. A real one. The teacher stared. The students stopped breathing. Emily continued. When you add 3 apples, I count all the apples I have. 1 in my bag. And 3 more. She looked back at the desk. That makes 4. No one laughed now, because suddenly everything made sense. Emily had not guessed. She had not been careless. She had been consistent. She answered the same way every time, using the same logic. From the beginning, she was not wrong. She was answering a different question. In that moment, the classroom changed. Not because of the apple, but because of the silence that followed. Everyone had assumed the same starting point. 0 apples. Nothing in hand. Emily had assumed something else. Her own reality. Her own context. And that is where judgment failed. Life works the same way. We think there is only one correct path, one correct answer, one correct way to think. But 10 can be many things. 5 plus 5. 2 times 5. 6 plus 4. Different paths. Same result. Different thinking does not mean wrong thinking. It only means you started from somewhere else. The problem is not intelligence. The problem is assumption. Because when we assume, we stop listening. And when we stop listening, we stop learning. Think about the last time you judged someone. Maybe they answered too slowly. Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they saw the problem differently than you did. What if they were not wrong? What if they were just starting from a place you could not see? Emily did not need to change her thinking. The classroom needed to change its questions. And this happens more often than we like to admit. At work, in school, in families, even online. We see one moment. We decide the whole story. But behind every answer, there is context. Behind every mistake, there is a reason. Behind every person, there is a perspective. Before you call someone wrong, pause. Ask yourself one simple question. What am I missing? If this story made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have ever been judged too quickly, you are not alone. Sometimes, the smartest answer is the one no one thought to understand.